Hello everyone, Darrell from Sungrind here with Breath of Thunder, and I'm creating a battlefield, battle environment for my upcoming RPG, Breath of Thunder. So right now I just have a terrain, and what I'm doing is just painting the field so I can add details so it will look interesting. So I know that my battle action will be occurring here, my party members will be here, the enemies will be here, and so I just want to follow a design philosophy that I refer to as breaking the line. Now, what we have here is basically just a solid line that is dull. It's boring. So that sort of visual design philosophy is to break that line, and you break that line by adding details, whether that be grass, trees, or terrain. So I know that the camera can swoop in deep and low because I programmed the camera to do that, and it's going to look pretty bad if you can see the boundaries. So a really simple way to do that is to just get yourself a real big brush here, and I'll show you where this is. I think this is fun and interesting, just looking behind the scenes at a game from a gamer's perspective is to see where this is taking place. This is actually, it's a couple hundred feet, hundred couple meters above, the environment. So you have your environment here, and actually the game camera is actually sort of just abducted and teleported way up into the sky where the battles are actually taking place. So that prevents any game logic from the world from being stopped. If there's game logic there that needs to keep occurring, it certainly can. And I'm doing this method. There's this trend that we've been seeing for years and years now, and that's this sort of, oh, it's bad, it's now like out of date, we don't like it, if the battle takes place in a different part of the field. But I don't agree with that anymore these days. And the reason being is that you can make the battle more interesting because you can control the camera and you can control the scene, the composition of the environment, which you cannot do if your battles occur on, the map, on the overworld, because you have to take into account the map gameplay elements. So this is why I prefer this method. All my upcoming RPGs are using this method. This framework that I built, which is called the Abstraction Framework, is designed so that if I wanted to make an RPG where the battles do take place on the map down there, then all I have to do is click a little, tick box, and then I would be able to do that. So there's a couple reasons I'm sort of painting myself into a corner a little bit here, and that is I'm not going to use Unity's built-in terrain um, method for trees, and that is because I'm targeting many platforms here, and I know that if I use Unity's trees, that's going to cause serious performance implications. So to avoid that, what I'm actually going to do is manually place the trees, which is a little slower. It's a little more obnoxious, but hey, people want this game on the Vita, and if I use Unity's built-in tree system, there's a chance that can affect it in terms of performance. The grass is also going to negatively perform the Vita, so I need to take that into account, and I might have to use a sort of a modified version of the terrain renderer there. So, okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to now put a trough in. So we see now, if the camera swoops in, we've effectively employed that design philosophy of breaking the line. We no longer have a straight line, which is very boring. We have this nice curve, but we do still have a very distinct line. There's different levels of lines. So what I'm going to do is place trees there and place grass. But before that, I just want to add a bit more interest to the environment. So I'm going to just build a couple, dig. I'm going to dig a couple troughs here. I don't want to go in too deep. Sum 41 reference, I think. Let's see here. Height, opacity, 0. Okay. So, oh, I see what I've done here. Okay. So what I've done is actually I've started that at 0, which is not actually what I wanted. I want my height to be at 5. So I'm going to just quickly go over this. Just going to quickly go over that, right? Actually, no, this works. This works for me, actually. Okay, so 5 is about as deep, so I can dig a trough around it, right? Okay, so let's see something. Let's just say something like this, right? And that's something that gives us something to work with. That'll make it interesting. Actually, this works out just fine. This is not a problem. Okay, so you can see that my dudes that I left there as placeholders are now under the ground. So what we're going to do is just grab the terrain, and we're just going to bring it on down and make sure that our dudes just there. Now that terrain there's a visual placeholder for me, a visual marker, so I know that is where I need to put my battlefield. Okay, so this is looking okay. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Now, for this particular terrain, because the size is so small, I've actually got that on a very low resolution. Again, these are design considerations. One is so that it takes up less space in memory, it will load faster, but also that leaves me more room to make a larger environment for the world without incurring performance and memory overhead and all that stuff. So that when I do put this on platforms that are a bit older and a bit weaker compared to modern platforms, I will be able to take that into account. So that's how I'm able to develop for multiple platforms simultaneously, is having an understanding of the requirements of each platform and designing your product to take those requirements into account. So let's see here. Go ahead and just raise that up again. And I just want to make it, you want the environment to feel um, immersive and feel like you're actually in a world that's lived and that exists. And if you see the boundaries of your terrain, that breaks that. It'd be so nice if I just used the Unity's built-in trees here. So actually, let me think about this. I'll double check my Vita projects because I've worked on Vita in the past. I'll just double check that using the trees actually isn't. I'm starting to think it may not actually be a problem on Vita, but I'll have to double check because I have notes. I take notes on every platform that I work on, but I work on so many different game platforms that I do have to go and consult my notes because every platform has very specific quirks to it. So I'm actually just going to make this a little easier on myself for now, just for now. And I'm going to place that in here. Now I'm going to try and, I'm going to do something I don't normally do, and I really don't like that, because I'm not a YouTuber, but I'm going to ask you guys to like and subscribe. If you do that, it would be an immense help to me. I don't like having to bend the knee to the YouTube algorithm, but at the same time, it does actually help. Apparently, it does really help if I ask you guys to like and subscribe and comment. If you have a favorite RPG, classic RPG, what is it? Let me know what your favorite classic RPG is. Breath of Fire 1 is very rough, right? But that was one of the first games that I played as a kid. It was definitely my first RPG. And I just adore it. I know that it's rough. It's pretty hard to play these days, Breath of Fire 1, but I still think it's just fantastic. I really love that game. I hold on. So here's something important to consider. So the trees that I placed are way too small. I'm just going to remove all of them now. What I'm going to do then is redefine the tree size. I was busy trying to give the YouTube talk, but yeah, like and subscribe and comment what your favorite classic RPG is. Tree height here. How about that? And we want to make it real big. See, on the world, in the world environment, the trees are a very specific size so that they take into account the angle of the camera, the size of the characters, the perspective that the player has. So the trees cannot be a certain height. Whereas here, you actually need those trees to be significantly bigger because the camera is now lower and closer. So if you're lower and closer, you got to go bigger. That's my life advice to all of you. Okay, so go ahead and plomp these here. Plomp, 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 plomp. And now we'll put a couple in here. Plomp, 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 plomp. So what I'm doing now is putting the camera in where I know it's going to be displayed, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing if I'm breaking that visual line, you see? So I'm going to place more trees where the terrain meets the sky, I need that line to be broken in order to maintain an interesting visual to the environment. So let's go ahead and slap on more trees there. Okay. Right, and the one of the reasons that I'm using prefabs is I've worked on the Vita before. I know where the bottlenecks are in terms of performance, and I know that if I've got a significant amount of trees here, the Vita is really going to struggle, and people really want this game on the Vita. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is shrink the brush, and I'm going to be more precise with my tree placement now. Um, these trees are not really as big as I would like them to be. You know what? The trees are being placed too low. This is what is happening. This is what is happening here. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix that. I knew something wasn't right. Something just felt really off about that. Okay, so what's going on here? What's up? I see. I think I'm going to have to edit. I'm going to have to edit the model in um, my software. There we go. Yeah. You know what? For now, I'm just going to stick these up here just so we can see what it looks like. All right. This is just temporary. This is just for now. It's nothing to worry about. Okay. So I'll go back and fix the trees a little later. Okay. Oops. Let's go ahead and just put those there. And what we're going to do is just very quickly paint a bit of grass, and then we're going to actually run the game and deploy, and then we can see the end result, and we'll see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and select our terrain grass here. We want to be a bit more precise, and what we actually want to do is, let's see, that's too much, right? That's still a bit too fast, too much, right? There we go. Okay, got this little environment here. Okay, and now we want to fill out some details around. I'll go ahead and shrink that. Here we go, like that. A little bit like that. A little bit like that. Something like that. And in just a moment, we are going to deploy this, and then we can see what it looks like running in engine. Okay. Let's go ahead and we have a taller grass. So when you have the lower grass, it's good to mix that in with taller grass in different positions. So it adds dimensionality to your environment. You can see it's a different color and a different height, and that really adds that dimensionality to it. If you have a look, we're now breaking. We have a visual line here. You see we have our main plateau. That main plateau has a visual line that needs to be broken in order to make this environment interesting. So that is what I'm doing now. Now, you not only have a compositional line in terms of the form and the shape of your environment, but you have a textural line as well, which we will break next. So let's go ahead and just fill this in just like that. So textural line has to do with your color and everything that's going on there. So I'm just going to grab a couple flowers here. Red hot for passion. Yes, beautiful hot passion all over the battlefield. Red, you know. If you put a calming color, that doesn't seem right for battle, does it? We'll put a little bit of white in there as well, so you can see that really adds that visual dynamic in terms of texture and composition. Is that white really brings things out? It makes that really pop, okay? And now, what's important to consider is that you can't just have green grass all over the place. So what I'm going to do now is grab a bit of this rock wall here, and I'm going to increase my brush size. And let's just put a little bit all around the edges, like so. This should be a mountain, like that, just like that. Anything that's quite steep, generally grass doesn't want to grow on any surfaces that are very steep. So you want to have that sort of rock wall there. You know? Okay, something a little bit like that. This is very steep here, isn't it? Let's go ahead and make that a rocky wall, just like that. Okay. I'll get a little bit more interest back into the environment here. Okay. What I will do now, just this area looks a little plain. Let's go ahead and add a little shelf here. This will be a secret just between you and me. Just a little, nice little secret shelf there, so the environment doesn't look so boring. We're going to smoothen that out just a bit. Increase the opacity on the smoothing tool there. Don't tell anyone about this nice secret little shelf. This will be a nice little spot for trees to grow. How about that? Okay, let's go ahead and now bring that brush size and the opacity down. And we can come back and work on this more a little later. What I'm going to do now is deploy this in just another minute or so. Okay, now we have our two tones there. So what we'll do, this brown material is something that really should only exist beneath the trees. Generally, grass won't grow under pine trees because the pine trees are taking up the nutrients and the sunlight. So in forests, you generally see that there's just sort of dirt underneath the tree. So generally, you know, I'll come back later on, and then I'll add those details uh, later around the environment. So what we'll do is just put some dirt underneath our trees. That adds visual dynamic. It's interesting to see. Makes our environment look nice and rich. And what we're going to do now is drop in a little bit of fog to make that look interesting. So this is a particle generator. This is a special type of game object that has logic that generates fog. So go ahead and click on my terrain here and click F, and I'm going to copy and paste that into my battle stage. Bring that on up, and then we can give our battle environment some nice, interesting dynamic with the fog here. Now you do have to define this. I do need to program a system that will change the color of the fog based on the time of day. Okay, so I don't necessarily want my heroes to be wrapped in fog. Let's go ahead and check the shape of this. It should be like a bit of a cloud. I normally use like a box. What we'll do is we'll just set that right about here. We'll duplicate that. We'll bring that on around just like that. Okay, so it kind of feels like there's two opposing forces here. All right, what we're going to do is just one more, and we're going to make this one a box. Okay, make that 30, 30, and 10, 20. We'll make this one a little bit less colorful. The maximum size 12 and 16, and that will give us the opportunity to generate some fog around the outer parts as well. Okay, so maybe 40 and 40. Okay, and that still isn't quite big enough for what I want. Okay, we just want to make sure that our maximum size, max particle size is 50. Okay, so now you can see that we have the more colorful stuff inside, and we have some fog on the outside. Okay, and that should do it. Okay, let's go ahead and save our progress. We can remove our placeholder graphics now. All right, we're going to run it, and we'll get into a test battle, and we'll see all of the logic working here. Okay, now then, let's go ahead and walk on over. I have a test event set up just here. This is a Bloblin. Let's go ahead and let him attack us, why don't we? There will be a transition effect, which I haven't implemented yet. We have our characters here. Now, we have our battle lighting. So our battle lighting is not working correctly. Let's just go ahead and pause that really quick. Let's see here. What is in our battle system? I think we are missing some. So what I'm going to do, where is this gameplay map system? What I'm going to do is just copy this. This is the sunlight that is in the map section. I'm just going to copy and paste that into the battle system, actually. So, sun, we have that in the stage manager. In the stage manager there, we'll go to our battle contents, our battle stage. Okay, I'm just going to paste that on up in there, right? Okay. Let's see here. Now, I just need to check something here. This is a battle stage ID. Let's see, static battle camera. There should be a point to where this should be disabled when the room starts up. I just need to check the logic here. So I just need to fix a few things because it seems like that's not being disabled. That should be disabled before the battle starts. So that's something that I'll just have to fix after I wrap up this video. So don't forget to step on these squishy mushrooms here. You can squish those if you want. You know, just a satisfying mushroom squishing simulator. And let's go ahead and get into a little random battle with this little fella. Well, it's not random because you can see him on the map. Okay, so let's see here. Now it seems we have run into some logical issue. Let's see, load battle stages. I see, because that was not enabled, it actually caused an issue. So let's go ahead and leave that now. And I think I'll have to come back and fix that lighting later. So for now, it's going to be just a little too bright. We do need that enabled at the beginning, so I'll just fix that after I wrap up the video here. We'll get into a fight, and then we should see. Interesting. So I need to see why the lighting is now disabled on that. So it looks like it has programmatically searched out that light and disabled it. Interesting. And it is manually disabling it on the battle stage. I'm going to go ahead and remove that from the battle stage just for now, and I'm going to turn that manually on. Must be the rim lighter that's disabling it. Okay. And now we can see what our characters look like. But I can see that the camera used for battle does not have the renderers, the post-screen renderers, so it doesn't actually look the way that it's supposed to. So I'll have to come back and fix that later. But now you can see that we have our battle system. We have our environment built. I'll add a bit more details in terms of the grass and the flowers, but this is how battles will look in Breath of Thunder. So I hope you thought that was interesting, just seeing a battle environment being built. I need to take more consideration. I may remove some of that grass and just move it farther back now that I see that one of the enemies is sort of getting lost in the weeds here a little bit, you know. So I hope this has been interesting, and if you are interested in this, please support the Kickstarter. Go to the Kickstarter and also share the Kickstarter. Ask content creators to talk about it. We really need to get more people talking about it if we want to reach our stretch goals. Our stretch goals will allow us to bring the game to more consoles like the DS, PSP, and the Dreamcast. So thanks for watching, and I will share more with you soon. Take care of yourselves.